the driveway look like Rorschach blots. I smell of burnt rubber hangs in the humid air. I'm staring at the mountain that blocks out the sun, feeling the weight of the valley on my shoulders. She's crying against the silence of the afternoon. The engine is a heartbeat thudding in the driveway. Melt the silver of my youth to forge a new path, screaming into the hollow night until the stars shake. I am the lightning striking the highest point of the hill, carving my own name into the crust of the earth. The cracked pavement feels like dry skin under my boots. The sunset is just a bruise that refuses to heal. I see the same cars circling the same tired blocks, trapped in a loop that I am finally breaking. I hit the suitcase under the bed like a weapon of war. I am a coward who finally found the strength to betray this place, ignite the fuel and become the sparks in the wind, flying over the sleeping valley like a golden hawk. The silence is a predator, and I'm the only bait. I've been standing on the platform just to learn how to wait, but the train is a skeleton and the tracks are a lie, and I'm looking at the ceiling till the clouds start to die. I've got a fistful of static and a mouthful of grit, and I'm finally ready to admit that I quit. Kick down the barricade and run for the hills. I'm done with the doctors and the porcelain pills. I'm a wild-eyed animal finding its teeth and shedding the mask that was bad. porcelain sky. Rain drips through the ceiling onto the linoleum floor. A dead radio hisses, white noise in the corner. The smell of wet wool and old regret fills the room. I'm counting the cracks in the plaster like stars. The air is getting thinner with every ticking second. My pulse is a drum beat against the hollow chest. Rip through the velvet curtains of this tired life, finding the edges of the map where the wild begins. I am howling at the moon until my throat is raw, building a palace out of the ruins of the street. Rusty swings creak in the wind at the edge of town. The graveyard is the only place where anything grows. I see my name written in the dust on the windows. Waiting for a storm to wash the memory away. I am paralyzed by the fear of being no more here. I would rather burn out than fade into this gray wallpaper. Tear down the walls and run until the pavement turns to stardust. Dancing on the grave of the person I used to be. I am the thunder rolling over the sleeping hills, finally awake in a dream I built for myself. Let it all burn. The horizon is calling. I am finally out. Started again the wire. Bare walls reflect the blue light of a dead screen. Counting dust motes in the stagnant air of 3 a.m. My shadow is the only guest who stayed for the after party, tracing the patterns of the carpet until they start to breathe. Clock ticks, breath stops, walls lean, heart beats. shadows stretch across the floorboards like jagged talons. I am digging through the wreckage of a conversation from 5 years ago, burying the silence in a shallow grave beneath the bed. Maybe the stars are just pinpricks in a velvet cage, looking down at a ghost who forgot how to haunt the living. The perspective shifts until the room is smaller than a coffin. I am the observer and the specimen under the glass. The architecture of this isolation is built from jagged glass. My voice is a stone falling into an infinite well of static. There is no bottom to the spiral I am currently carving. The night is a predator waiting for the first sign of dawn. The first sign of dawn. The first sign of dawn. First sign of dawn. A broken string on the guitar you left leaning against the wall. Coil like a snake that lost its venom in the winter cold. I found a ticket stub from a movie we walked out of halfway. Reminder of a night when we thought we had forever to waste. The shadows are lengthening across the peeling wallpaper. The smell of rain is rising from the cracks in the sidewalk outside. Hollow laughter ringing through the chambers of a frozen heart. The sting of wood smoke and the chill of a door left ajar. A tapestry of errors woven into the fabric of the everyday. The muted colors of a sunset that refuses to fade away. I still buy the coffee you liked, even though I can't stand the taste. The ritual of mourning that I perform every single morning. I regret the way I let the distance grow until it was a canyon.
monster like him. Standing on the edge of the kitchen sink. The faucet is dripping, a rhythm of dread, matching the heartbeat inside of my head. There's a figure in the hallway who looks just like me, but he's trapped in a cage that I can't even see. The staircase is winding into the black fog, smelling of cedar and old burning log. I'm reaching for something that's solid and fast, trying to break through the weight of the past. I'm breaking the iron that's rusted on my limbs, singing the loudest of my own battle hymns. I'm drowning the demon in a river of light, winning the war in the middle of the night. Everything's wrong, but I'm making it right. Found the key in the palm of my hand. It was always right there like a grain in the sand. I opened the cage and the figure stepped out, replacing the fear and replacing the doubt. We emerged in the center of the cold dusty floor, and I don't feel the need to hide anymore. The roof is exploding into a million shots, playing the best of my hidden trump cards. The oxygen's filling the gaps in my chest, putting the ghosts of the winter to rest. I'm melting the chains in a furnace of will, standing so tall on the top of the hill. I'm seizing the day like a weapon of war. I'm not the victim I was once before. I'm opening every closed up door. Beneath the layers of skin and of bone, I found a kingdom that I call my own, scrubbing the rust from the gears of my heart, giving my life a brand new start. Identity, my own I'm the king of the ruins and the king of the new, filtering out every word that's untrue. I've reclaimed the name that was stolen from me, setting the spirit and the animal free. I'm exactly who I'm supposed to be. No longer ashamed. Rain drips through the ceiling onto the linoleum floor. A dead radio hisses, white noise in the corner.
fills the room. I'm counting the cracks in the plaster like stars. The air is getting thinner with every ticking second. My pulse is a drum beat against a hollow chest. Rip through the velvet curtains of this tired life, finding the edges of the map where the wild begins. I am howling at the moon until my throat is raw, building a palace out of the ruins of this street. Rusty swings creak in the wind at the edge of town. The graveyard is the only place where anything grows. I see my name written in the dust on the window. Waiting for a storm to wash the memory away. I am paralyzed by the fear of being normal here. I would rather burn out than fade into this gray wallpaper. Tear down the walls and run until the pavement turns to stardust, dancing on the grave of the person I used to be. I am the thunder rolling over the sleeping hills, finally awaken a dream I built for myself. Let it all burn. The horizon is calling. I am finally out. The smell of damp wool and old paperback books lingers in the hallway. Tracing the outline of where shadow used to rest by the door. I found a single copper coin you dropped behind the radiator. A tiny piece of history gathering dust in the corner. The air grows heavy with the weight of the coming storm. Static crackles against the window pane like a frantic pulse. Echoes of a conversation we never managed to finish.
tastes like freedom. Television hums with a voice I don't know, watching the static begin to overflow. My pulse is a rhythm that I can't quite catch, a cold and a fever that I cannot unlatch. There's a parasite feeding on the thoughts in my brain, turning my logic into something profane. The clouds are bruised purple and heavy with lead, echoing words that should never be said. I'm climbing the ladder of a sinking ship, trying to loosen the devil's own grip. I'm purging the static from the center of my soul, taking the fragments and making them whole. I'm fighting the monster that lives in the screen, becoming the person that I've never been, cleaning the canvas and making it green. I pulled the plug and the room went dead, clearing the noise from the back of my head. The silence is heavy, but the silence is mine, a boundary drawn at the edge of the line. I'm reprogramming the way that I breathe, watching the shadows finally leave. The horizon is stretching like a wire on a bow, ready to launch me where I need to go. I'm feeling the heat of a sun that is new, burning away all the things that weren't true. I'm rewriting the code of the ghost in the wild, walking through walls and walking through fire. I'm claiming the throne that I left in the dirt, finding the power underneath all the hurt, giving my spirit the ultimate spurt. An ocean of glass and a mountain of salt, finding the keys to the heavy steel vault. I'm digging for gold in a graveyard of tin, unlocking the beauty that's buried within. No more hiding, no more sin.
no darkness destroy. I see me.
The smell of damn wool and old paperback books lingers in the hallway, tracing the outline of where your shadow used to rest by the door. I found a single copper coin you dropped behind radiator, a tiny piece of history gathering dust in the corner. The air grows heavy with the weight of the coming storm. Static crackles against the window pane like a frantic ball. Echoes of a conversation we never managed to finish. Hollow spaces where the floorboards groan under the memory. A map of scars etched into the ceiling above my bed. Fractured light through the blinds, painting bars across the room. I kept the voicemail where you didn't say anything at all. Just the sound of the wind and the engine idling in the rain. Regret tastes like iron and the salt of 1,000 unspoken apologies. I should have chased the taillights instead of locking the deadbolt. I was the one who let the fire go out on purpose. I watched the embers die because I was too afraid to keep them warm. My cowardice is a lead weight in my chest that won't dissolve. It won't dissolve. Burn the maps and tear down the walls of this hollow sanctuary. The silence is screaming for a resolution that won't ever arrive. I am finally breathing the smoke of everything we left behind. Wreckage is beautiful in the fading light. I am letting the tide take the pieces of us away. Goodbye is a word that finally tastes like freedom.
tracing the cracks in the plaster until they look like maps. The refrigerator hum is the only pulse in this apartment. I am a figurine forgotten on a shelf of broken things, waiting for a sound that isn't the ghost of my own name. Teeth grit, pulse jumps, mind race, air thins. Electricity vibrates through the wires of a brain on fire. I am a witness to the slow decay of my own patience. The floor turns to liquid glass beneath my trembling feet. Every second is a hammer striking a nail into the floor. Blacking veins run cold under the pressure of the onset. The mirror reflects a stranger who stole my favorite clothes. I'm drowning in the shallow end of a very dark pool, burying my head in the noise of a world that stops spinning. Perhaps the world outside is a projection of a broken film. I am the only one left in the theater after the lights dim. The scale of my insignificance is a mountain I cannot climb. I'm watching my own silhouette fade into the gravity drags my heavy thoughts into a sea of molten lead. The architecture of my loneliness is reinforced with steel. My voice is a whisper in a hurricane of self-inflicted doubt. There is no rescue coming for the man who locked the door. The static in the marrow. Static in the marrow. I should do.
Neon flicker in a black tower room, dancing on the edge of a beautiful doom. No more nodding when the master speaks. I can feel the power in the way the floor creaks. Rebel in the wires, poison in the well. I'm breaking a lease on his customized hell. Scream at the stars until the universe breaks. I'm taking back every single mistake. I'm the master of wreckage, the king of the flaw, and I'm biting the hand of the systemic law.